All right, Brother Sanchez, do you want to just
I
start us
mean,
out and tell us why the Earth's not a globe?
Well, I just want to start by saying that the one thing about science is it's based upon facts. And anytime I'm led to theoretical concepts or anything founded on beliefs, then I can't conclude on it. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and answer your question. The reason why the earth is not a globe is because there's not enough substantial evidence to prove that it's a globe. Everything that would support the globe is theoretical, is not factual. Try to show up at court with theoretical evidence. You'll never reach a verdict. So that's kind of in a nutshell one of my reasons for taking the stand that I take today with flat Earth. But I'm willing to move on to something else if I come across information that challenges my current paradigm. I'm not just some guy that's locked into anything. I'm on a journey to of trying to uncover the truth.
All right, Ritz or Conspiracy Cats?
Sure.
And by the way, Brother Sanchez, I sent you the other link if you want to give that to your partner.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, I want to know what evidence will actually be accepted. Will an actual picture of curvature, give you enough to go on? Would mathematical equations that can be demonstrated in reality be enough to go on? Would showing you the impossibility of a flat Earth be enough to go on by showing the inherent contradictions that are within that model? Because I can go to Soundly's observation on Lake Pontchartrain and you can see direct observation of curvature. I can also show you the angular size of the sun, which is impossible on a flat Earth. I can also show you the many horizon observations that we have done with ships disappearing over the horizon, zooming in further, and not seeing the ship return back, as many flat earthers claim it will do. So what evidence will you actually accept? Because when it comes to evidence, we have a catalog built up over 3 years showing direct observation of curvature, and still nothing is satisfactory to you. So what would you actually accept besides us booking a Blue Origin craft and launching past the Karma line?
Well, the only thing that I will accept personally is personal observation and research. I think we live in a day where too many people think that believing the research of scientists make them a scientist. And in my opinion, believing other people just make you a believer. So I think we should all be proactive in doing our own research, just like you said. I commend you for that, which I've done my own research that showed me contrary to everything you just said. Boats don't go over a curve on a horizon. I've proven that in many videos. So when you ask me, what can you show me? You will have to show me something that make me deny my own senses, because I go to the beach every year. We go to San Diego and I got a telescope and I got some good binoculars over here too. But I mainly use those binoculars and I pick the ship right back up. I got different cameras that I film with. I'm able to zoom in and pick it up. I'm never zooming in on a ball of earth water. So that's just one thing about the boats. Like, that's gonna be hard for you to kind of combat, because I'm actually at the beach myself, zooming back in on a boat that I just saw vanish, that you would say just went over a curve, but I'm able to zoom back in on it. This is personal research. Now, you said your research is contrary to that. Hey, man, all I can say is good for you. I can see why you're a globalist. I don't see how we're getting two different results. I just don't.
Yeah, the reason why I think that that it's not going to go anywhere because of what you just said. You said that you're not going to accept anything other than personal observation. So basically, unless you do the observation yourself, nothing I do, nothing I say, nothing I show you is going to convince you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Not necessarily. When I say personal observation, you can show me something right now And I can personally just accept it and say, you know what, even though I wasn't there to do it, I think this is legit and I'm gonna run with it because I think he's got a point. He's debunking what I'm saying, what I see. I'm not gonna argue. If you can do that, then I'm not gonna be a dickhead and be like, well, he's wrong just because I didn't do it. But I'm saying you would have to do it, not just say it. I mean, you would have to actually do it. So that we can get into that part. But no, it's not that I got to per se do it. But even if you were to do that and show you the information, and I agree with you, it still wouldn't make it factual on my end. It'll just make it where I'm believing you. That's all. I would have to still do it on my end for it to really be a fact in my reality. You know?
Then what would it take for you to get down to Louisiana and go to Lake Pontchartrain, where we have the flat earther camera of choice, both of them, Nikon P900 and a Nikon P1000 and a few telescopes, and you can directly see curvature. If you were to go down there and you were to see the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway curving with the Earth as it does in reality, which anyone can verify for themselves, would you then accept that the Earth is indeed not flat and curved?
100%. If I was to actually go down to Lake Pontchartrain and see through your camera and do all that good stuff, yes. But here's the thing, though. When you really just sit down and think about that from a reasonable perspective, you know, without taking the trip, look at what we're saying. We're saying we can see this curvature from the ground at a little lake, when we're also being taught that we got to get up so damn high to see the curvature. I mean, the Earth will have to be very small for us to see curvature on the ground from a lake. When you think like, you know, what are we saying? A ball that's 24,000 miles in diameter, and I can go to a little lake and see the curvature standing up on the ground. You don't think that's a little mathematically ridiculous?
No, I don't, because the one good thing about the Lake Pontchartrain observation was that it was actually virtually modeled with the assumed size and shape of our beautiful round Earth. And when you compare the computer renderings to what was actually observed, they match perfectly. So not only does this observation comport with reality because it was done in reality, but it also comports with the size and shape that the globe is asserted to be. So what we have is two things confirming each other perfectly. So actually, no, I don't see it as a crazy concept at all. I call it reality.
That's cool. You know, a lot of people call Islam reality or Christianity to reality, Scientology reality. Heliocentrism has been the reality of many people for many years. It's not my reality. I don't hack you for it being your reality. One thing about flat Earth, it doesn't have to be proven. Only globe Earth have to be proven, because when I walk outside, I experience the Earth flat. Only thing that'll make me say it's round is someone telling me it's round because, hey, I got in a rocket, I left the ground, and at this height, it starts to ball up. The horizon balls up. I never done that, but for many years, I believe people who say they have. But the evidence that's been presented throughout the years have not been consistent. And upon second look, we see it's all just BS. If it wasn't, there wouldn't even be a flat Earth movement. You know, we don't have a real picture, or the curvature is ridiculous. Okay, well, cool. You do, I don't. I'm still waiting on one on my end. Good, you know, salutes to you guys. But I will tell you this. It's just ridiculous because we're talking about something that's supposed to be factual. Like the word horizon is the root word of horizontal. Now, when a horizontal line starts to curve, it's no longer a horizon. And all I need to know is, when does the ground outside that's flat? I mean, we know it's straight up flat as a pancake. I go to the beach every year. And that's one thing about the Earth that is so beautiful to me, the 360-degree flatness of it all the way around, you know. And I would like to know, at what height does that ground start to ball up, you know? And that magic number have not been consistent. We saw huge amounts of curvature at low heights, and less amount of curvature at high heights. Like, how can that be consistent? And we see that it's the result of GoPro, CGI trickery, and all of this type of stuff. And it goes back to what I said earlier. I haven't went up there to see the earth turn into a ball, to see the ground beneath me, you know, start to ball up. I haven't been up high enough to observe that. So I would have to say I am believing the theories and observations of others that say they have, and just so happen all of those people happen to be Freemasons. So I don't choose to practice that belief anymore, but that's just my choice. I don't have anybody else.
We don't. I will go ahead and say that CGI is disingenuous, but can you go ahead and David, go ahead and play that video for everyone? Because what we like to do is we like to let the flat earthers give us the parameters that we have to go for.
Here.
And the flat earthers have always said Nikon P900, Nikon P900, Nikon P900. Well, what you're seeing on your screen right now is what was shot with the flat earther camera of choice. This is not CGI. This is something that you can go out and observe for yourself. What you're seeing is a zoomed in view with the Nikon P900 from the 6th story of a hotel room right next to Lake Pontchartrain, and that bridge is the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. This is direct observation of curvature, no CGI. Also, when it comes to the claim that we don't have a real picture of Earth, allow me to draw your attention to a satellite called Himawari. It's not from NASA, it's from JAXA, the Japanese space agency. And it produces a picture that is 11,000 by 11,000 resolution every 10 minutes. And to give you some context on that, Pixar, literally the leaders in their industry when it comes to CGI-ing crap, they can only render 1 frame of 4K video every 30 minutes. So the processing power is simply impossible to match with what we're getting with JAXA. Also, another thing with JAXA, there is a video out there by a YouTube user by name of Wade's Underworld, and he was actually comparing his local weather to the observations that are being made by that satellite, and they match perfectly. And he did this for a few days, if not a few weeks, made a video comparing the observations to what was shown every 10 minutes on the Himawari satellite, and they matched perfectly. So not only is it at a resolution that would be impossible CGI, not only is it at an accuracy that literally anybody on that side of the planet can actually verify, which they have done multiple times, but it's at a quality that shows our beautiful round Earth in vivid detail. Why is Soundly's observation and the observation from that satellite not convincing to you?
Because it's not my observation, so it's convincing to the person that made the observation. That's quite simple. The things that's convincing to me are the things that convince me to go in the flat earth. So if you would like to know those and deal with those, that'll probably be the more appropriate step to take, because I didn't see Soundly video. I don't know none of these guys you're talking about, never heard of them. And it wouldn't be convincing to me if I don't even know these guys. So, I mean, if you want to know
so
what led me into flat earth.
No, but we go back to what I said previously. You just said, well, it's not necessarily the case that I will reject everything unless I do it myself. I just showed you all these things, and then your primary reason for rejecting all the things I gave you was because you didn't do it yourself. So I go back to my original question.
Hold on a second. That's not my reason for rejecting it. My reason for rejecting it is because, in my opinion, it still doesn't debunk my observations. And if you would like to see my observations now that you've given yours and we put them side by side, you can probably see why I'm making the conclusion that it's not substantial enough, because you haven't saw my stuff yet. I heard your arguments, but it's not convincing to me because you haven't heard mine. I think I got something more powerful than what you said. You know, it's a lot more simple, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, until we see my side, we can't really conclude on nothing quite yet. Ain't that's fair enough?
I would have to disagree that we can't conclude anything based on what we've seen so far. One thing we can conclude is that the assertion that we do not see curvature is false, because curvature is easily observed I have done it. Soundly has done it. Multiple people have done it. Multiple people have made YouTube videos about it. This is not something that is so hard to do. You can actually see direct observation of curvature. So the assertion that the claim that we don't see curvature is categorically false by that.
So exactly how do we see curvature? Like what you're presenting are
By looking at it.
Effects. Hold on. What you're presenting are the effects that would present themselves if curvature were to exist, but we don't see the actual doggone curvature. Like you ever saw basketball? We see the numbers that would support curvature. We see things converge on the horizon, but if you want to call that curvature, that's you. When I see street lights getting small in the distance, I know they're not going over a curve. I know that I can't see forever, and things get smaller in the distance as they converge on the horizon, just like the boats do when you're calling it curvature. They're not going over a curve. Now, am I able to screen share so I can finally make my argument, please?
Sure. Well, while they're getting that out, let me also say that when you're using, oh, go ahead.
Let me explain to him how we're going to have to do that. It's kind of like we did it with GeoScriber, which Dave, you were still moving that day. What you're going to have to do is join our Discord, and he's going to have to Dave, you're going to have to do like a desktop capture for him to be able to see his screen. You know what I'm saying?
He's got to because we got just. Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you good? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say if he want, I can email him a picture right now. Maybe that'll be quicker.
That'll work. Yeah, that'll work.
You can even just put a link in the chat if you want.
Because
in the chat, in the call that you're in right now,
I send a link.
Yeah, there's like a private chat for us, Brother Sanchez, in this call. You see that chat box over to the right of your screen? You can just put it in there.
Let me check.
And
okay, well, no, it's on my personal drive, so I'm gonna just send them an attachment if that's cool with y'all.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Just email it to my email that I sent you the link on, and I'll forward it over to Dave.
Can I go over the streetlight thing now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The streetlight thing that you are referring to is the law perspective. As objects get further away from you, they will get smaller and smaller and smaller in your vision. Eventually, the available resolution of your eye will be insufficient to see the object again. That's not the result of curvature. That's just the result of objects getting further away from you. Unfortunately, the problem comes in when we don't see the object, or better yet, we only see part of an object, when there is more than enough angular resolution to work with. Case in point, Soundly did another test called a blink test. And I'm going to ask David to go ahead and play that right now, because what you will see with the blink test is very fascinating. You'll actually see a building that has more than enough angular resolution to work with, and yet we have half of it that is completely missing. Now, how do we know that there's half of it? Because we can do a comparison with the thing that we're blink testing against, which is the actual object itself. People are now seeing it right now on their screen, so they can see for themselves even more evidence of curvature. And this follows along the same concept that you were bringing up with the streetlights.
All right. Dave, I'm forwarding you Brother Sanchez's.
I'm going to also send you a link to play for YouTube as well. That's just a quick link you can go to.
Yeah, put that in the chat. Put that in the chat here in the call, that box off to your right.
Yeah, he thinks that what he just showed proves curvature. Like I said, we never visually see curvature. We see small little pictures like that, and that's really not that's not curvature. That's not curvature. But we'll talk about that now. Let me go ahead and give you this video real quick.
Yeah, denying it does not make it not curvature, just so you know.
Well, no, it's not curvature. I mean, you even said it yourself. You said that when things disappear on a horizon, it's not curvature. And that's basically
No,
what
no,
you
no,
just
that's not what I
happened.
said. That's not what I said.
Okay.
What I said was what we are seeing is not the result of just perspective limiting our line of sight. What we're seeing here is an object with enough angular size to work with where we should see the object in full, and yet we don't, which means something external to law perspective is at play, i.e. curvature.
Okay, so let me explain how this works. All right, I just sent the link in the back chat. You want to play that video real quick? If you want, you can play it in double time. It's already 2 minutes, but we're going to play it fast just so we can show you a little, just a small little demonstration. Anybody?
Give us 1 second.
It's gonna.
He's loading that up right now. Just give us 1 second.
No problem. And while we load that up, let me just say what we're about to look at is why things on the horizon vanish from the bottom up, okay? Because what Rhetoric just showed you is you lost the bottom part of a building. He said that's because of curvature. I said, nope, it's not because of curvature. It goes back to what I said, it's because of convergence. Your eyes are curved, but not the horizon. So your eyes will bend things. And you still don't know how your eyes work. You think it's curvature you're seeing. So I'm going to show you right now, right, that it's all a mirage. And what you're seeing is that the further away things go, the more of the bottom you lose. So what you're going to see in this video that he's pulling up, if I can finish, what we're going to see in the video that he's, okay, yeah, whenever you pull it up, just hit play and let it roll, because you can play mute with it too. I'm going to talk over it.
Okay.
See, what's happening is this. If me and you was on a huge plane, right? And let's say we was laying down having a picnic, you laying down on the ground, and let's just say I started walking away from you out into the horizon on a huge plane. I will start to vanish from the feet up, just like we see the sun. And if you put a quarter on a table and set up a camera, and you move the quarter down the horizon, in that case, that would be the table. Go ahead and hit play on that, please. Hit play on that. I want it to play while I'm talking so I can make a point, and then I'm gonna pass the mic.
Playing now.
Yeah, hit play on that.
It's playing
and
now.
like Rhetoric said, denying something don't make it false. Now, this video is a great explanation of what happens on the horizon, and we can hit play on it real quick.
It is playing.
Oh man, my bad. Let me check it out. I'm looking. Okay, cool. So yeah, like I said, things vanish on the horizon from the bottom up, just like we see here, just like with the setting sun, just like the picture Rhetoric showed us, where he showed you lost a little bit of the bottom of the building. That's because you're on a flat plane, and as things go far away from you, you lose more of the bottom of that thing. Like I said, if we was at a big plane and I walked away from you, I would start to vanish on the horizon from the bottom up too. You feel me? So it's simple stuff. I mean, you can say what you want about it. It's a simple demonstration that's way more simple. We could do the personal observation. We see this being played out and duplicated. Whereas on your behalf, we got to believe some superimposed, tricky little picture that I'm explaining to you is not curvature. We haven't saw a curve. We saw little pictures and little play stuff, but I'm showing you why things vanish from the bottom up. It's very, very simple. We all see things happen. We see this happening. Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead, take the mic.
I don't know if I should be shocked or just surprised or whatever that you don't see the obvious flaw in that video. The camera is below the surface of the table. If I was to replicate this observation in real life with a lake, my camera would have to be below the water. So how about this? How about you show me objects disappearing over the horizon of a flat surface with the camera actually leveled with the surface of the table and not below it? This observation clearly does not match reality, because in reality, we don't film ships disappearing over the horizon from underwater.
So can I go ahead and respond and show you out and tell you why the camera is below the table? Because the
It's
table
obviously
is
to make a visual effect.
Let me go ahead and make a point to you, because I'm baffled that a person like you, who's, you should know this, don't know this. Let me explain mathematics to you, sir, please. Just 1 minute if I can.
Sure thing.
The reason the camera is below the table is to compensate for the length of the table as opposed to the length of the actual beach horizon. So in order for us to see the quarter, the star vanish, in order for us to see the quarter vanish on the table, how we see the sun vanish on the horizon at the beach, we will have to put the camera lower to compensate for the length of the ocean. This is simple mathematics, and I'm gonna tell you why right now. If the camera was the same length as the table, how we stand at the horizon, the quarter still would vanish at the bottom, just like he did when the camera was low, but he would need a long ass table for us to observe that. So to make up for the fact that his table is not that long, like his table is not the fucking size of the beach rhetoric. So he got to lower the camera, just like if you was in an airplane and the ship, if you say that a ship actually vanishes on a horizon at the beach, I can get in an airplane and go up and actually pick the ship back up, because I gain more horizon view the higher up I go. So if I'm going to reduplicate the damn beach in my kitchen, I will have to lower the camera to make this experiment accurate. This is simple math. Like my table isn't the size of the damn ocean, bro. So in order to examine that, you would have to lower the camera to compensate. It's simple math. It's just simple math.
All right.
So again, if he had the camera the same height as the table, it still would vanish at the bottom. We would just need a long ass table to compensate, you know, for the length of the ocean and the table. You should know that.
So basically, okay, so let's go ahead, and I appreciate you explaining math. So allow me to explain some math, since you are clearly a very smart individual. You know mathematics like the back of your hand. So you then know, obviously, this equation that alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r, where alpha is the angular size of the object.
1 second, everyone. All right.
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, I just want
Bro, you
Hold on,
can't
hold on.
interrupt, man. I'm gonna have to mute you.
Yeah, hold on, Brother Sanchez. Let Reds finish, and then we'll let you respond.
Interrupt, dude.
We'll let you respond.
Can't interrupt,
Go
dude.
All right, go ahead, Reds.
Okay, so as I was saying, alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r, where alpha is the angular size of the object, g is the actual size of the object, and r is the distance to the object. That is the actual law perspective. In the video that you are showing right now, between time code 1 minute 8 seconds to 1 minute 20 seconds, we see that coin disappearing underneath your so-called horizon, even though the camera would have to be underneath the water. But we'll go ahead and ignore that glaring problem for now. Another thing that we can observe from the footage that you yourself showed is the angular size of the coin, which represents the sun, shrinking in angular size. Well, guess what? Back in 2015, I made a video towards zetesystem.com showing that the angular size of the sun does not change throughout the day. In order for this observation to comport with reality, not only would the camera have to be above the waterline, but the angular size of the sun would also have to remain constant, which means that as that coin is moving further and further back, it has to remain the same size in the frame. In this video that you yourself linked to, you can see that that coin is changing in angular size. When we do observations of the angular size of the sun in reality, we see that it does not change. I did this back in 2015, and I am going to post a link to it right now, both in the live chat and also to be played here on the live stream.
Okay, so did you see the pictures that I put up on all of my channels of our experiments proving that the sun does change size? It does change size as it moves away from you. So plenty of flat earthers done their own research, and I was showing us not only does the sun change size as it moves away from you and gets smaller on the horizon, just like streetlights do as the streetlights further down in the distance, they're smaller. So it shows you that the quarter on the table example is perfectly in line with reality because this is what we observe. We're not trying to make our experiments be like and what I do, I go with what reality shows. If I do an experiment and my experiment don't line up with reality, in my eyes, it's my experiment that's wrong, not reality. You saw the quarter shrinking on the table just like we see the sun shrink on the horizon. I see it shrink every day as it's going down. I'm in Nevada, so I got a lot of horizon view. I got a lot of land. I got a lot of distance to see. So what I'm saying is not only do I see the sun shrinking as it moves away from me, I also feel the warmth of the sun being taken away from me. So the sun is taking its warmth with it and it's shrinking as it goes, just like cars shrink as they go down the road. I don't know, you know, how a sun 93 million miles away would change size as it's going, you know, over a so-called curve. And that's why you're having this problem, because according to your model, it would have to stay the same size. But in reality, that's not what we observe. I challenge everybody to go outside and observe the sun itself. Does it change size as it's going down on the horizon? Now, you're going to have some atmospheric you know, aspects that play into that. You're going to have a lot of things play into that. But the fact remains that if your research showed you that the sun does not change size, hey man, more power to you. It's just that my research shows me contrary to that. My question for you would be humbly, where am I going wrong with my research? Is it a filter? Because I heard that before. So that you're not using the right filter or something.
Well, that depends. Were you using a solar filter? Were you zooming in at max zoom like I did? Because the fact is that one thing that I see a lot of flat earthers do is that they confuse glare with angular size. Glare is not the same as angular size. Glare will make the sun appear bigger than it actually is. Look at a filtered image with an unfiltered image. The sun looks immensely bigger than it does in reality. So if you were to do your observation with that filter from the very beginning, then you would actually see what is currently playing on the screen right now. I went out and took a picture of the sun, one picture every 30 minutes for an entire day. Each image was taken at the same zoom because the digital zoom was turned off for this observation with the Nikon P900, again, the flat earther camera of choice. And here you see the sun stay the exact same size in the frame throughout the entire day, which means that the video that you showed us of the coin disappearing into the distance with the camera below the waterline, of course, is debunked by that alone, because that coin was shrinking, but yet in reality, the sun does not. Your observation is flawed somewhere because it does not comport with reality. Your explanation is flawed because it doesn't comport with how one would actually do the observation. We would be above the waterline, not below it. So your entire premise is built on faulty assumptions and faulty analysis.
Okay, once again, the reason we wouldn't be below, of course we wouldn't, like I told you, with the camera wouldn't be lined up with the table to compensate for the length of the table. I don't think you're getting that. Like, of course we wouldn't be below the water line. In this experiment, we would be, because we wouldn't be in the kitchen if we're trying to test the, you know, test how the sun vanishes on the horizon. Think about what we're saying, Red. We're reduplicating the beach in our home. And the best way to make that accurate, to compensate for how vast the ocean is and how small my table is to put the camera down, to give us more, to give me less space that I got to deal with. See, the higher I want you to picture this in your mind. Picture him in his kitchen with the quarter on the table and his camera raised up high. Let's say we raise it up high. It'll take forever to see that quarter vanish on the horizon, Red. His table will have to be bigger than the damn Last Supper, that's for sure. He would need a table bigger than the damn Last Supper, bro. And we would be there all day if he raised that camera up. Now he's in his kitchen trying to reduplicate the ocean. If he put the camera right where we would normally be at the ocean, that's mathematically inaccurate because the ocean and his table are totally different sizes. So how did he compensate for the size of the ocean and his table not being the size of the ocean? He lowered the camera. We only dealing with convergence and views, how things vanish in a distance. We're dealing with angular views. We're dealing with convergence. So in order to compensate, to reduplicate the beach in your house, you just lower the camera so that we can examine the quarter vanish on the bottom quicker. If he raised the camera, we pick the bottom right back up. So him bringing the camera down is nothing faulty. It's him redoing the beach at home, and I don't think you get that. His table is not as long as the ocean. So if you
I will go ahead. I will go ahead and agree with you on one thing. I don't get it, so I will pass it on to someone who might. Conspiracy Cats, do you understand this? Because I don't.
Well, if you gotta let
No. I mean, the point is whether that experiment was wrong, which it clearly was, or whether it was. You've just literally been shown a time lapse of the sun being taken over. What was it? A day that Reds? A whole day?
A whole day from morning to sunset.
Yeah. So you've just been literally shown, and this is where you need to sort of like give some kind of response, right? You've just been shown a picture of a time lapse of the sun, and it is clearly not changed in angular size. So whatever you've done with the coin and the table is completely irrelevant, right? Have you got a scientific explanation to explain the sunset when you now know that the sun doesn't change in angular size?
The thing is this, I don't know nothing because he played a YouTube video. Like the problem with today's generation, we so video. I played a video, now you don't believe me. Like it's not a matter of belief, it's a matter of fact. Great video is not enough evidence to convince me. So now, wait a minute, y'all cut me off from the beginning and you didn't really want me to cut Red off. I apologize, but y'all didn't let me finish. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The argument about the quarter. Yeah, the quarter on the table thing is very relevant. If it wasn't, he wouldn't even entertain the argument. Now that I'm breaking it clear to you why the camera is lower and I'm making it make sense, now all of a sudden it's not irrelevant. But anyway, we can move on. And what you were saying was about the footage he showed. Great footage, and you know what I'll say, based upon that footage, it proves what he said. Now this goes back and forth. I do these debates all the time where the globalists show up showing their footage, and I host a lot of these debates. So I'm not always debating, and what I find is that the flat earthers show their footage, and it becomes a matter of me having to go to the chat room and say, okay guys, which footage do you accept? And I have to go to the chat and be like, which footage, which one of these guys, because his footage supporting his and his footage supporting his. And this guy's saying, well, your footage is wrong for da-da-da-da-da, well, your footage is wrong for da-da-da-da-da. And at the end of the day, we're leaving it up to the people to say, well, who footage do you believe? When, like I said, it's not a matter of belief. They need to go do their own research and make it a matter of fact. Personal observation is not me looking at your video saying, okay, Red, you're right, I'm wrong. That's a fact. I've done research, and what you've presented, in my opinion, it's not that easy to get me. Like I still haven't thought enough yet to convince me that they're curvature. That's just me though. And I'm willing to keep listening until I see enough. And maybe I will say, well, damn, that's it. That's it. I get it now, but that's not it. That's not going to be the one to do it, guys. Sorry.
Right. So just quick yes or no then. Have you ever filmed the sun through a solar filter over a number of hours and compared the angular size? Have you ever actually done that? Yes or no?
Honestly, never filmed the sun through a solar filter. Sure have not.
Right.
But
do you think after this that maybe if you did, it might change your mind? Do you think maybe it might be something that's worth your time doing?
Actually, you have my word that I'm going to get with my people and we're going to make that happen before the end of, well, let me not make no promises, but I guarantee you, as soon as I leave here, I'm going to get right on that. We're going to film it with the solar filter personally. If that's what you want me to do, I'll do that. That should be big to do. We got guys with solar filters in the community, so we could do that.
Brilliant.
Okay. Reds.
Oh.
I would like Red
Yep.
to explain why the heat of the sun is taken with it too, because you know we can explain away. We can get into the solar filter and say, well, the sun shrink or it doesn't shrink as it goes away, but it's taking its heat also, and that's giving us an indication that it's a local light source. And it is indeed shrinking on the horizon, because the more it shrinks, the colder it gets. You know, it's like it's taking that light with it, which is the warmth. So, I mean, how do we address that?
Or it could be that the light is getting blocked by the horizon, because a sphere can only be illuminated halfway at a time.
True. That's actually a viable explanation on a globe.
Yes, correct. It is. But the thing is that the angular size of the sun does not change throughout the day. And we've demonstrated this not once, not twice, but multiple times. I'm not the only one that's done that. Here's the thing. I only did that just to say that I have done it. But other people have done it too. I'm not alone in this. And so you have repeated observations that show the exact same thing when done properly, but yet you look at the flat earther side of things, they're recording things with a raw lens, filming it with iPhones, filming it with crappy, tinted glasses as solar filters. This is not how you do observations. What you will need to do is have an actual solar filter. You can get one from Thousand Oaks on Amazon for $10. You'll need that. You need to put that on a camera with an actual zoom lens on it and zoom that son of a bitch all the way out. Zoom all the way in on the sun, all the way. Make it fill as much of the frame as possible. And then start doing your observations at that zoom level throughout the entire day. And I guarantee you, the angular size of the sun is not going to change throughout the day, which is a problem for the flat Earth, because flat Earth needs the sun to change in size throughout the day.
I think that the sun actually does change size throughout the day, and the globe Earth needed not to change. Because you're telling me I got to get all of these lenses and stuff to deny what my eyes naturally showing me. And we still haven't talked about crepuscular rays. Like, how do you have crepuscular rays on the globe? You know what I mean? Like, it's
the same way that we have train tracks. The same exact way we have train tracks.
Yeah.
And by the way, I would not recommend using your eyes to figure out the angular size of the sun. That's how you go blind.
No, we do have something called sunglasses. Are you serious? Come on, bro. But anyway,
yes,
when I was
I am actually serious, because even with sunglasses, if you look directly at the sun, you're gonna fuck up your eyes.
I really don't want to get involved with this, but I got to. This is a safety thing. Please, hang on. I don't care what you believe, flat Earth or round Earth. Do not look directly in the sun. I have to say that because you know me. Don't do it. It's not gonna worth
Don't
glasses.
do it.
At least 99.99% filter, like a welding glass at the very minimum. People have gone blind by looking at the sun through even types of poorly constructed types of filters. So do not do it. Just straight up.
Do not
People
do
have
it.
gone burning image.
I wasn't trying to get into all of that, me personally, because I'm a sun gazer. I actually wake up and stare into the sun for a couple of minutes a day. It's actually an ancient practice in my family, so I don't know about you guys, but it's just actually normal for me. But I wouldn't recommend no one to be out there just staring directly in the sun. We know that in sun gazing, we do that at particular times. But anyway, that's another subject. I wasn't even trying to go there. Only thing I'm saying is
you were trying to get up the crepuscular rays, and I actually have a response for that. So let me go over that first, since that was something you brought up.
Well, you never let
well, that is one thing that they did go over, and the thing is that just like train tracks are parallel. Parallel lines do not intersect by definition, but they appear to touch in the distance. But the thing is that if you measure the distance between train tracks at one side of it, and you travel a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles down, and you measure the separation of the tracks again, you're going to get the exact same answer. Otherwise, that train is going to derail. Now, how would this work when it comes to clouds? Well, with clouds, the way that we would figure that out is if the shadow that the cloud is making is the same size as the cloud itself. That's how we would know. Well, luckily for me, I just came back from New York City, lovely people up there, by the way, and I took this picture from 40,000 feet. And this picture shows that the shadow of the clouds is the same size as the cloud itself, which means that the sun rays are actually parallel. So that means that this actually confirms what we would expect to see from a distant sun.
How do we know they're real clouds? Those are gonna be fake clouds. Completely generated.
I guess you have to take my fucking word for it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. My bad. My turn to speak. Cool. Yeah, what I was gonna say was that picture does not prove parallel rays at all. From
Really?
the ground, I'm just telling you why right now. From the ground, we all observe triangulation. We see crepuscular rays, and no matter what you say, that shouldn't be possible from a sun that's 93 million miles away. The atmosphere wouldn't have any effect on that in the way that you're saying, because refraction wouldn't turn parallel rays into crepuscular rays. If you're trying to bring up refraction, we know exactly how refraction works. But well, I'm bringing it up because that's the only thing that you can bring up to explain why we would see any see, the only way we see triangulation from any light source is if it's a local light source that's close to us. For example, if you pull up a picture of a porch light or something like that on the wall, you will see coming from the porch light is a triangle coming from the source of the light, emitting the light outward, and you can actually trace those light rays from the bottom of the triangle, the base of it, right back to the point or the peak, back to the source that's emitting the light. You would not be able to go above the light source and still have light. So what I'm saying is this right here. The only way we can see triangulation is if that the sun is local and within our atmosphere, just like we can see triangulation from local lamp lighting on buildings and stuff. We can actually trace it back to a source. We wouldn't be able to trace, we wouldn't be able to have triangulation for a sun that's 93 million miles away, because you wouldn't be able to trace those back to a light source that's 93 million miles away. That would be no triangulation. Like you said, on a globe, the sun lights up the entire side. So that entire side will just have even light all over. We would never examine crepuscular rays in that type of setting. The only way we would examine crepuscular rays is with the flat earth model of a local sun behaving just like a local lamp source. It's very simple.
Yeah, it's simple, but I completely disagree with you. That's actually not what we're seeing, because by your own definition, by your own explanation, that means that because I can see the train tracks meeting somewhere in the distance, that must mean the end of those train tracks are actually local to me. Actually, no, those train tracks could go on for thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. And the picture that I just showed you actually does prove one thing. What it does is it shows that those sun rays are indeed parallel. Parallel rays would make it so that the shadow of the clouds are the same size as the clouds themselves. That picture is not CGI. I took that out the window of an airplane. And guess what? The shadows are the same size as the clouds, which is the exact same thing we would expect to see if those rays were actually parallel. What you're seeing is the exact same thing you're seeing with the train tracks. Just because it looks like it's meeting at some point does not mean it's actually meeting at that point. This is actual law perspective that you are actually not getting. But yet flat earthers like to throw around that term.
I'm totally getting it. See, here's the thing. If this is the sun, and I'm just doing this with my fist just for a quick demonstration because I can't screen share. But if I got one side of this room that's nighttime and one side that's daytime, half of my fist is night and half of it is lit up sunlight. On the half of the sun that's lit up sunlight, like we're examining the globe model, is yin and yang. You got an entire side of the sun being lit up from a sun 93 million miles away. And all of the rays are coming in parallel, just like you say, just like your picture showed, just like you want to claim that, okay, it's parallel. But here's the thing, from the ground, we observe crepuscular rays. If the globe model is true, hear me out, right? If the globe model is true and all of the sunlight is evenly hitting one side of the globe and the entire side giving it daytime, why are we able to see sunspots and crepuscular rays in local areas, specific locations? On a globe, the entire side of the globe will be receiving those rays of light evenly. So no one would be seeing crepuscular rays at any given point. Now, if you want to see the atmosphere can bend parallel rays of light and make them into crepuscular rays, that's something different you're going to have to explain. But you comparing it to railroad tracks is inaccurate, because for this reason, the railroad tracks are not 93 million miles away. I can walk up that railroad and I can see that these railroad tracks are not converging in the distance, and that go back to curvature. It's not curvature, it's convergence, just like we're saying here. So when we talk about the sun getting smaller as it moves away, it's because we're on a flat plane. There's so much distance in between me and her actual true horizon line that I'm able to observe the sun get small as it takes its light to other cities, other places on this flat plane. So it's not that there's any curvature at all. It goes back to what you're even saying, convergence. See, here's the thing about, and I'm gonna fall back after this, and this is my final point. The reason I said we can't have crepuscular rays at any given point in the global model, because the sun is always 93 million miles away in the global model. And excuse me, little background noise coming in. I'm gonna make my point here. This is my final point. My final point is the word local is related to the word location. The word local is related to the word location. Things that are local are they reveal their location. So I mean, like I said, if I'm looking at a lamp, if I'm an ant on the ground, but there's a huge lamp on and the light rays are triangulating all the way to the ground, the ant can follow the light rays at the base of that pyramid right back to the lamp that's creating the light. So in the case of us seeing crepuscular rays on a globe Earth, we wouldn't be able to trace those rays back to a sun 93 million miles away. That's not how triangulation works. The reason we're talking about, they call local light sources local, is because the triangulation of the light reveals the actual light source. On a globe, you wouldn't have a triangulation pattern coming from sun 93 million miles away would never create triangulation. And that's the whole argument right there. Like, the further away you take a flashlight away from a tennis ball, the more of the tennis ball you illuminate. And you start to illuminate that whole side evenly to the point where something walking on that ball wouldn't even notice the triangulation, because the light source is so far away. Now, the closer you get to the ball, the closer the light triangle is revealed, because the source of the light is coming closer to you. So we say the sun is local because it creates triangle rays that we can actually trace back up to its location. We got videos of pilots flying above the sun. I guess y'all ignore that too. We can pull those up.
Cool. Conspiracy Cats, you want to go next?
Are my links? I was just going to say, are my links that I brought to that last debate, are they still available? Or are they gone?
I can get your PowerPoint in short order.
And just to let you guys know, we're gonna be, because yeah, he's pulling that up right now. Conspiracy Cast. I just want to break in and say that we're gonna wrap here in about 10 minutes and move over to the Ad Homies After Show. So just stick with us after we close out this show, and we're gonna pick back up where we left off after this. But we're gonna wrap in about 10 minutes and move over there. So all right, Conspiracy Cats. Go ahead.
So which one did you want?
It was so the link document. It will be number 9.
Okay.
So number 9 takes you to. Is he gone?
No.
Is he left?
No,
Brother Sanchez?
just turned off his camera.
Oh no, I can hear you guys.
Turn
I'm
off his
here.
camera.
I'm here. Yeah, I don't want to
Okay.
smoke on
Right.
camera.
All right. So you were talking about crepuscular rays being converging to a point, leading to a local sun. Well, this video that's about to come up now highlights the point Reds were making, that they are in fact parallel. And if you just stand to the side of the rays, you can see the parallel. We see a driver driving down the motorway, driving towards some crepuscular rays, and they're all obviously diverging. But when he gets to the side of them, you can see clear as bell that the parallel, just highlighting what Reds is saying, that it's about your viewpoint and perspective. But that, I don't know where that link is. It's
Which number?
We're
did
number
you put
9.
in? Number 9 coming up.
It was number 9.
Coming up here.
I actually want to see this video.
It's from a. It's not one of mine. I hope
so.
it shows up well.
I hope it does too.
So it's on that page.
Right.
This it'll probably need
There
expanding.
it is, right there.
Which
Right.
one? This one here.
It was there a minute ago. Yeah, that one. Can
Now
that
we
be
got
blown
it.
up? Can it be full screen? Because it's pretty. Yeah, if you look right at the very beginning, they're really, really, really divergent. And as the video goes on, and he gets next to them, oh, it's gone. It's not as clear on this as it.
It is. It's
see
clear
it.
on the live stream. They can see.
You can see it. Watch it a couple
So they're becoming more and more parallel as he drives alongside them, just like, looking down the railway tracks and standing to the side.
Yep.
Can you play that again? Okay.
Yeah.
That's some good rays, man. I got a couple of videos myself.
Yeah.
Yep,
Watch what
they are
happens when you
good
get
good
to the
rays, and good rays that do not comport with a quote local sun. Neither does the angular size of the sun, but that's another story for another time.
Well, yeah, I saw triangulation. Me personally.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I'm sorry,
Well,
I don't
wait,
mean to just butt in or whatever, but so can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out
Yes,
to
but we're getting ready
Oh,
well,
okay, all right, no doubt, no doubt.
we're glad you're here, but we're getting ready to wind down. But we are going to pick this back up on our after show. If is it Dremidas?
Dremidas, yeah, Dremidas, yeah. No, I've been
Dremidas.
on here for like the past 5 minutes or whatever, so I know what's going down with the move and all that. That's cool.
Well, if you want to, you and Brother Sanchez are invited as well to the after show we're getting ready to do, and we can pick it up there. But we're running out of time here. I'll send you both the links for that you can pop in if you want to, and we're going to be kind of picking up on some points, and we'll give you all the time you need over there too to say whatever you need. But we're at the dead end of this. But I'll give you the last word, Tribita, since you popped in and hadn't got a chance to say anything.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. I just want to say what's up to everybody. I just had a quick question about that video that was showing the crepuscular rays as the vehicle was driving by. They seemed to be straightening out in a more vertical position, and to me, that's just a product of you moving to a different location, in comparison to the actual ray. So it's not that they're necessarily coming down in a more vertical or parallel way. It's just you're viewing it from a different angle, but the ones that are further to the left as he's moving away from the left, they're still on an angle. So it's kind of like I don't understand how that proves that the sun is 93 million miles away. That's just kind of like what I was going to say, but
Okay. I mean, I'd
okay,
say if I had two
Are we going to
big,
end on that, or?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
No, actually, I was
I
going to
think-
ask a question. Are we going to end on that, or Conspiracy Cats, can he reply, or what we're going to do from here?
Yeah, he can reply, and then we're gonna to Brother Sanchez and Jamis. I'm posting the links to the after show, how you can join in the chat in here in this internal chat. So if you want to pick up on that, the links will be over here. And Conspiracy Cat will give you the last word, and then we're gonna wrap up. All the super chats that we've got, we're gonna announce on the next show too. So just look out for those.
Okay, so it's only a quick one, a response to that. Imagine two different scenarios. If you're looking down an actual railway track where the lines are parallel, they appear to converge. And if you stand at the side and look at them at 90 degrees, they very clearly look parallel. And then imagine a different scenario where those two rail line tracks aren't parallel, they actually converge and they actually touch. If you stood to the side and looked at them from the side, they would not look parallel. They would still look like they're converging. Right, so by the very fact that we can drive past those those crepuscular rays, and they appear to get more parallel, shows that they cannot be converging. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for popping in, especially since it was last minute. I appreciate Brother Sanchez and Dramitas coming in on such short notice. Reds, as always, thank you. Conspiracy Cats, thank you. You both have a link to the after show as well. Conspiracy Cats, Mr. Atheist sent that to you over Twitter. Reds, I sent yours over Google Hangouts. And then for the two of you guys, one link is the first link is for Brother Sanchez. The second link is for you, Dramitas, here in the internal chat. So we are switching over now to the after show. I want to thank everybody for sticking with us and watching. And thank you, Scotty, for not showing up, because it's actually worked out to be a much better discussion, I think. So
Can
Steve,
I take us off? Can I take us off? Can I take us off? Can I take us off?
Yeah.
Take us off, man.
Yeah,
I brought gloves this time. I was prepared, so.
Exactly. Well, the reason why I want to take us off is because, fuck Steve.
Yeah, I do have QWERTY on my forehead. I actually was bashing my keyboard in my head, so I have like QWERTY here, but it'll
let Reds take us out.
Okay,
ahead,
so
Reds.
I do want to say congratulations to the team that just fired off the Electron rocket. It was a successful launch. Congratulations, guys. I look forward to seeing your next launch. Godspeed all the time, every time on our beautiful round Earth. All right, that's it. Peace out. See you guys in the next one.